Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators with award-winning business strategist and financial analyst, LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group. With Raw Talk, we are empowering women to rise and succeed in business and finances, and improve the world for the next generation. Get ready to get raw and real. Live each Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford, and I love all things business. And I'm excited because this platform is designed to really challenge and inspire you to push the envelope when it comes to business and business principles, to see what things that you can do in order to move the needle in your life. And today I have a very special guest, Mr. Shawn Fair, who is just an extraordinary individual. He is a speaker, he's a teacher, he is a leader in the management consulting space. He helps to empower leaders from around the world. He has spoken on stages in the US, Canada, South Africa, Europe, and I know much more to come. And what's really impressive is this number, ladies and gentlemen. He has taught over 300,000 leaders from around the world. Again, 300,000 leaders from around the world. So if that doesn't tell you, you need to lean in, get that note paper or those devices out and capture notes. I don't know what else will. So without further ado, I am going to bring to the stage Mr. Shawn Fair.
Hey,
how's it going?
It's going wonderful. How's it going with you?
It's going well. Thank you so much for saying yes. I know you've been traveling all over, so I appreciate you taking time to join us on Raw Talk.
Oh, listen, it is my pleasure. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, Shawn, one of the things that you've said, because I was doing a little homework on you, and I love picking people's quotes, and you said that you cannot lead others without leading yourself. So can we talk about that and what inspires you to get behind that quote, and how do you feel that you lead with that quote of excellence?
Well, I mean, I'm a coach and I'm a teacher and I'm a manager. And so in every facet of my life, I'm constantly leading people. So I don't have the right to lead or coach anyone if my life, business or personal, is out of sync. In other words, if there's a certain skill set that I'm missing that's preventing me to be the best that I can possibly be, how can I take the time to lead others? If there's things about the industry that I don't know, nor do I take the time to actually know it, but yet I want to lead and coach and train other folks, that's really a contradiction. If education is something that I'm lacking in, that's preventing me from being the best I can possibly be, but yet I want to coach and educate and mentor and manage other people, that's a contradiction. So I'm a believer that if you don't have self together, it's very difficult to lead others. And by the way, the folks that you're leading, they're evaluating you every single day. So they can tell you exactly what your blind spots are. So if you're not focused in on that, you're going to have a tough time trying to connect with people, manage people, coach people, train people, lead people. That's going to become a major problem.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful, especially in this age of Google University. There are a lot of people who put coach, mentor on their titles, and like you said, they are having these same issues that they are so-called classifying themselves as experts in the field. They quickly go to Google, they could do Chat GPT, and they package themselves as authorities. And unfortunately, for that person who is hungry and who's looking for self-development and those skills and strategies in order to propel their business forward, they're being what's the word? I can't think of the word right now. Thinking in another language, but they're hoodwinked. I think that's the word. They're thinking, it's like they're being hoodwinked into thinking that they're getting one thing and they're not. But you, Shawn, and I believe are the real deal, because you started prior to your business on the corporate stage, and then you translated that into what you do today. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah. So, I started my corporate career back in 96 at a company called Cellular One. I'm not sure if you remember that, but it was one of the very first wireless companies that popped up into the Midwest. And I started off in customer service. And so after doing customer service for a few years, I jumped into sales, into sales management. I went into going into a sales director's position. And then I became the vice president of sales and marketing for a AT&T firm, and then the vice president of training for a large T-Mobile distributor. And so I've learned a lot in being in all those positions, right? So understanding how to work with different people, how to understanding working with different positions, but more importantly, understanding business in general, right? Working with budgets and understanding, how to use those budgets to maximize opportunities for people that's within your team environment was something that I had to learn. And so those skill sets that I learned over the years are transferable skill sets. And so I took what I learned from the corporate environment, and then I moved them over into, my own personal platform.
That's the one thing that I love about what you said, and I just encourage our listeners. Sometimes when we start our own business, we think, well, I don't really have all the tools. But when you're able to go back in history and look at all the skills and experiences that you've had and determine, okay, how can I apply this? But then you have an amazing team around you, right? So it's not only you being the expert in everything, but looking at what areas other people can bring to the table, what skill sets, what expertise can bring to the table to help you move your vision faster, farther. Can you talk a little
Well,
bit about that?
well, absolutely. I mean, listen, whatever the vision that God gives you, it one a lot of times, especially when it's business oriented, you can't build that by yourself. It requires, if you're going to build a business, it requires others to be a part of it, because I'm not great at marketing per se, or I'm not great at operations. I'm not great at photography because that's a part of my business. I'm not great at videotaping people. That's not what I've learned. All of those elements are part of what we do every day. So without having pros and experts in those areas, then the business would never excel. Every business owner has a blind spot. No, let me rephrase that. Every business owners have multiple blind spots. So, in order for you to develop an organization that is going to be robust, it's going to bring real value to society, you got to have a team that are pros that fill your blind spots.
And you must be in my head, because as you were talking, I said, I want to ask Shawn, what was your biggest blind spot?
Oh, well, there was a just based on the platform. One, photography. Two, video work. I had no skills in those areas whatsoever. As a matter of fact, some of the people that do that now didn't have the skills either, but they had a passion for it. And they developed the skill set over a period of time. But those two things were my biggest blind spots. Now, the other aspects of business like marketing, sales, those are things that I picked up from the corporate space. How to effectively present and deliver a presentation in an engaging and entertaining and educational way. Those are things I picked up along the way, which is the main piece. Well, let me also say that if you're going to build a business, you got to be talented. There's got to be a gift somewhere, and you have to surround people around your gift that are pros in the areas of your blind spots. But those are my major blind spots. For the most part, the business aspect I learned that over, a 20-year span.
I like that. So you had the business acumen paired with this amazing vision, but you knew, okay, in order to make this happen, I need to have people who can, I guess, get in their zone of genius. Like you said, even though they didn't have the expertise per se at the time, because they had the passion, they were able to develop the expertise. So let's talk a little bit about how your passion can link to your purpose, which ultimately will drive profit.
Yeah, well, if well let me put it this way. You can have a passion and it is not your purpose per se. That can happen. But if you have your purpose, you should be passionate about your purpose. So I kind of put purpose first.
Okay.
Passion comes behind that. Passion is the drive. That's the very thing that wakes you up every single morning, that pushes you towards accomplishing the vision, the goals, the objectives, and the mission that you set forth in order to build the business. That's what the passion does. Because without it, Luana, you probably understand this. Are there not days where you wake up in the morning and you say, like, I don't feel like it today? Right. Well, the passion helps you to push through that. Right. There are days where you wake up in the morning and you know that you have to deal with 3 or 4 people over here that you don't want to deal with. Well, the passion pushes you through that. Right. You got situations that's going on in your life. You know this is a necessary thing that has to happen. And sometimes life situations get in the way, but the passion pushes through that. So understanding your purpose is extremely important, right? Whatever God has given you, like, you only know that. Like, I get a tug and a pull constantly about what it is that He has for me and my family. Whether people agree with it or disagree with it, I know internally what's been pulling and tugging at me. Now, understanding that, I continue to move forward, and it's within my zone. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of folks that they say they have a purpose, but it's not in their zone. And then they wondering why what they're doing doesn't expand. It doesn't move forward. There's no fruit that's coming from it. And that's because you're not operating within your strength zone.
Yeah, I agree. I like to call that your zone of genius. And I think one of the things, and I'd like to get your take on this, that cause people to get a little paralyzed is fear. It's like they know what their talents are, and they have this vision, this wild, crazy, audacious goal, but then they get so crippled by what ifs. What if it doesn't succeed? What if people criticize me? What if I don't have the clients that I want? What if I end up losing money? What would you say to those individuals who really know what they should be doing, but they're sidelined by fear?
Well, I don't think fear is a bad thing per se. It's people's perception or perspective of fear is what the challenge is. I think when you build a business, fear is healthy if you look at it from the right perspective. In other words, the fear is the very thing that's driving me, right, to grind day in and day out. That's that fear. That fear of failure is a piece that I think that everyone one needs, but a lot of people, they take that the wrong way. So let me change that up a little bit. I never had a fear of failing in this business. Now, I may have people around me that feared that, right? And that could be a detractor for some people. But my fear was, would I be able to generate the amount of revenue within the time frame I needed to generate that revenue? The successful part was never an issue for me. I knew I was going to be successful. God gave me a clear picture on that. The question was, will I get there within the time frame that I need to get there? And I can share with you that it was right on time. The revenue that I needed for me and my family came right on time, right when it needed to happen. And all I can tell you is this, is that you have to believe in yourself. Everybody that's around you not going to believe in you. Everybody that's around you not going to support you. And so, it could be a weight on your shoulders. But if you know this is where you're supposed to be, and this is where God has you, and this is the gift that He's given you, and it allows you to bring the value to the people He wants to bring value to, then you have to move beyond that fear and just know that what's for you is for you.
Yeah, I like that. It's um, back in the day, my first company was Pro Starter Sports, a licensed sporting apparel store, and we had no fear shirts. And so on the front it said no fear, but on the back, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think that plays into what you're just saying right now. When you have a sense of knowing and that tug, then you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not walking in that truth, right? Despite what other people may say, it just doesn't feel right if you don't show up for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. LaWanna, the other thing I want to say too is that, a lot of people, they want to start a business, and they're afraid to invest in themselves.
Mhm.
So you know how it is when you start a business. We don't always have the financial pieces that we need in order to get the company going, which means is that there's got to be a sacrifice somewhere financially if you're going to get the business up and running. Most of the people that try to get into a business, or they're trying to start up a business, are not willing to make that sacrifice, even though the tug is there, the pull is there, and it says this is the direction I'm supposed to go in. They're not willing to sacrifice or juggle or do what's necessary to get the business up and going. And that's why a lot of people that start this, they fail. But if you know what you do what you have to do in order to make it happen.
Yeah, I love that. We're going to do a quick breakaway, and we'll be right back with the amazing Shawn Fair. Hold on. We are here with Shawn Fair, and we are talking about leadership principles. And Shawn Fair he's a guru. He's a guru on the speaking front, training, sales, marketing, business consulting. He is the CEO of Fair Consulting Group, the Fair Consulting Group, as well as founder of the Leadership Experience Tour, which we'll get into a little bit later. But Shawn, let's talk a little bit about what this month is. It is Black Business Owners Month. And you talked about investing, that it's important for us to invest in ourselves, invest in our dreams. And one of the challenges that communities of color face are the marginalizations that are there, the systemic inequities that are there when it comes to getting financing, getting the support that's needed. Did you face any of those hurdles when you were in business? And what words would you have of encouragement for individuals to continue to press, whether it's doing that bootstrapping or crowdfunding, whatever you need to do to get that business up and running?
Yeah, when I started this, I didn't have any money. Money was a struggle, and I didn't always make the best decisions with money. To be quite frank with you, but here's what I will tell you. When I started, my first thing was let me go out and talk to some people that I know that have money. Let me go talk to them. So I put together this business plan, and the business plan basically says that I want to accomplish this within the next 4 years, and I need $200,000 from you. There was these two guys, they own this company. I had been knowing them for some time. As a matter of fact, I started them in the business, and their business from 10 years ago turned into this $30 million business, right? So I had a relationship with them, and when I gave them the proposal, you know what they told me? They said that no, we'll give you the $200,000. Okay, now that would put me in a really decent situation, but that $200,000 came with 10% interest, lifetime. So if I'm taking a look at the numbers I have in my business proposal over the course of 20 years, and I'm taking that 10% of the profitability. So if I believe the numbers that I have in this book, the amount of money that they're going to make off of this is obscene. And so I decided to turn it down because long term, it's not going to be a benefit for me. It's not going to be a benefit for the family. So I turned it down, and I just decided to just do it the way the guy asked me to do it. I just had faith in it. I had total faith in it. And so even though I was juggling, And I didn't have all the money that I needed. I just kept pressing. I kept pressing. I kept pressing. And again, what is for you is for you.
Yeah. What you just said is very powerful. All money is not good money. And when you have that financial acumen to just, or maybe you don't, right? But you have a team of financial advisors that can help you assess and weigh the cost and the associated risk and determine how risk adverse are you before you proceed with that. And like you said, you would have had the money immediately, but then look at the long-term cost. You're just bleeding endlessly.
And not only that, LaWanna, is just one, like you said, all money is not good money. And I've turned down $1 million deals. I've turned them down because of what they wanted me to do. And so you have to figure out, like, what is your brand? What value do you want to bring to society? How do you want to bring that value to society? And there's going to be a lot of people, once you build leverage in your business, that's going to come to you and say, will you do this? Will you do this? And we'll pay you this kind of money. You have to be very careful of that. And you also have to be very careful of people trying to entice you to do things they give you things for free, but there's something that's always attached to it. And they want you to do things that are outside of your principles, outside of your character, to use it against you so that they can get the things that they want. And I've learned that along the way. I can't tell you some of the obscene offers that I've gotten from people for free. If hey, you can do this, or we'll do this for you, or we'll get this for you, all so they can have some leverage over you. And you have to be very careful of that in business.
Yeah, that's another golden nugget there. Let's talk about value since you're on that path right now. Very often, when you don't have a lot of money in business and you're just getting started, or maybe you need that growth expansion capital and it's just not there, and you get in this bartering place, right? All exchange is not equal, right? You can have someone to say, okay, here you are, and we'll get into this soon, but your leadership experience tour. So your tour offers a lot of value. But then you could have someone say, well, okay, I don't want to pay for the exposure and all that you do for me, but why don't we do this little flip-flop or a swap? And then you look at it and it's like, okay, you're not giving me a fraction of what I'm giving in return. But sometimes people are so hungry and so desperate for the visibility and the exposure that they'll sell the farm to get a couple of eggs.
Yeah, well, I only barter if it makes sense. Okay, it's got to make sense, and it's not that. Listen, I try to help everybody if I can. So if you come to me and you say, you know what, I would like to do this with you, and I'll give you this. And if it's not a match, my answer is not instantly no to that. But what I will say is, I'll tell you what, this makes a little bit more sense. I will do this portion for you if you do that. So I try to create a piece or something that I can provide for them that is equal to what they're offering. That's if the product or the service that they have brings value to the people that we have in the tour. Now, if what they're offering doesn't bring any value, I'm not gonna work with that person, because I'd be doing us a disservice. I'm doing them a disservice as well. So you also, when you barter with people, whatever they're offering, whatever the product is, it has to be in line with your product. Whatever level of product that you offer, the level of product they offer, it has to be in line with that. Because the one thing that happens when you barter with people that are bringing a service or a product that is less than what you offer, everybody's looking at that. Everyone is paying close attention to that. Why is Shawn doing that? Why is he connecting with this person? Right? That product is not really a good product. So what is his real motive behind this? Or if you bring someone into your organization and you're bartering, and all of a sudden you have a meeting with that person, but that person is not aligned with your views, your values, your character. I'll get a phone call like this, Shawn, is everything good? You all right? They don't come straightforward with it. I says, yeah, I understand. I understand what you just heard. Yes, I'm going to address it. And so, yes, we're going to go into a different direction. So every decision that you make, everything that you do, when you really truly build your platform, everybody's looking at it. Everyone's evaluating you daily, the decisions that you're making, etc. So I'm pretty mindful of that. That was a learning experience at first, but we got that down to a science now.
When you were talking, it's one of the stories I always share about even getting on platforms, right? And assessing what are you bringing to the table, because you want to create this win-win. But then, is it an opportunity for you? Why do you want that exposure on this particular stage? And a few years ago, I was interviewed on a national radio show, and it was about the mortgage industry. But I didn't do my homework, Shawn. This particular show was specifically for audiences in Las Vegas. They wanted to specifically talk about that particular market because a lot of lenders weren't lending in that area at the time. Had I done my homework, I would have said, wow, this is a great opportunity, but let me wait until you go broad again, because I'm not licensed to do loans in Las Vegas. So I sat there, gave all this information, which is great for the listeners, but there was no return that I could get from it. So just looking at it in different ways, whether it's that business exchange or just you showing up, which now gets us to the Leadership Experience Tour. And I'm going to show a little video, and then we'll talk a little bit about that, okay?
Okay.
Experience Tour, February edition 2022. And I'm telling you, Mr. Shawn Fair has done it again.
The speakers have been absolutely amazing. And so if you're a person that you're going through certain situations and you need some best practices to help you to be a better you, then you want to make sure that you attend our next event, which is going to be here at the Michigan State University Center in Troy, Michigan.
But it's not about Shawn Fair. He's the visionary. It's about all the folks that he's brought together to be a part of this. These are speakers. These are experts. These are individuals who have one common goal. That's to help you improve in the area of leadership, but more importantly, in your business.
It's a family environment here. A lot of people ask me when I came off the stage today, they say, how did you feel? Were you nervous? Even if I was nervous, the minute I got on the stage, all of my other colleagues and my friends, they would support me, and I felt that energy. And because they wanted me, it's no competition, because they wanted me to do such a good job, I did a great job.
We have 6 cameras that's taking footage of all of our speakers on stage. We have multiple photographers. We have crane video footage as well. It's absolutely an amazing experience.
If you are not here, you are missing out on all of these amazing connections, inspiration, education, leadership strategies and tools so that you can become the greatest version of you.
The Leadership Experience Tour has been in today's marketplace for over 7 years. But over the last couple of years, we've been working with OnStage Plus, and we have access to over 150 million homes across the globe.
Make sure you get plugged in to the Leadership Experience Tour. I will see you here for the next one. Leadership Experience Tour!
You know, I haven't seen that video in about 3 years almost. That was one of our older videos, and there's been a lot of
still evergreen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But, so tell us all about this Leadership Experience Tour, and if you could just kind of do a little bit of rewind for us. How did you have this vision to say, you know, I'm going to create this mega platform on a notable stage to spotlight speakers, teachers, influencers, leaders from around the world? And second part of it, Shawn, is what makes you different from other people who are doing something similar?
You know, it's interesting. This was never the plan. I didn't come up with this and say, okay, I want to do this, to build this platform and bring speakers. I never once did that. So what happened was I was working with corporations and teaching leaders about management and how to be a servant leader and all those things. And on social media, I always post like, where am I going? Like, so I'm going to Texas. I'm working with this company. I'm going to, Louisiana. I'm working with this company. Like, I was always posting where I was going. And you know how you post something and, people don't really like it. They don't comment on it. Like, no one was liking or commenting for some time. Like, I would get like 9 likes or something like that. But what I learned is that even though people are not liking your posts, they're watching, they're paying attention. So about 2 years of doing that, I was in Dallas, Texas. I'll never forget it. I got a phone call from Mr. Paul Glantz. And Paul Glantz is the founder and owner of Imagine Theaters. And he called me up. I answered the phone. He was like, Shawn, I'm Paul Glantz. You don't know who I am, but I'm the founder of Imagine Theaters. And I've been to his movie theaters on, several occasions. And he says, I would like to have a conversation with you. And I said, well, what would you like to have it about? And he says, well, I'd like to have that conversation in person. I says, well, I'm in Texas. I won't be back until next week. He says, I'll be in my office from Monday through Thursday. You don't need to call. You don't need to set up an appointment. My secretary knows exactly who you are. If you come in anytime between 9 and 4, between Monday and Thursday, she's going to walk you into my office, and whatever I'm doing, I'm going to stop to talk to you. And so I went into his office, and she knew exactly who I was, the secretary, and she walked me to the back, and Paul was on the phone, and he put his finger up like, give me 1 second. And then when he got off the phone, he said, hey, Shawn, I just want to let you know that we are in the Shawn Fair business. And he says, we've been watching you for several years. We love what you do. We love the audience that you've established. But we were wondering if you can take the folks that you train from the corporate classroom, take them from the hotel conference room, and bring them to the big screen at Imagine Theaters and turn your presentation into a production. And I said, man, that sounds pretty cool, but what do I get out of this? And he said to me, our venue is your venue. You don't have to pay to be in our venue. You can go to whatever venue you want, and there's no charge for you. And we will give you a marquee 90 days before every event that you do there. And the only thing that we ask of you is one thing. Whatever you decide to charge, just give us 50%. Because I helped them to solve a problem. They had a lull between 9 a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. They didn't have many people coming into their theaters. So they're trying to figure out ways to get people into their theaters during that time. And so people don't know this, but I was the first person that's ever done an event at Imagine Theaters outside of an actual movie. And to this day, they bring in people like myself and other companies into their venues during that time of the day, all based off of the model they built off of my back. That's how it all started. So when I did my first event, we sold it out. Every ticket was sold. And we charge $100 per ticket. Now remember, that's matinee time, which means they normally charge $7 per ticket. They're getting $50. So that's like having 7 shows at one shot for them, right? So this made a lot of economical sense for them. And after we sold it out, there was a few things that happened to me. I actually started to get some opportunities I wouldn't otherwise have gotten being on that particular stage. So I decided to do a second one, brought in another speaker. We sold it out, and the same thing happened. Not only did I get opportunities, she got opportunities. Then the next show, I brought in 4 speakers, and all of them got opportunities. And so that's when my brain started thinking a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute. If I put someone on this stage and I provide some exposure and I bring them in front, put them in front of an audience, that it will provide some opportunities. And that's how the concept was established and developed. And then we started to add certain components to it, and everyone wanted to participate. And I said, well, I wonder if I can charge folks to come on stage, do their video work, get them into publications, right? Provide them with the exposure, both in person and virtually. That's why Onstage Plus Television came into play. Like, is there value for people in doing that? And sure enough, it was. Do you know that You can come to the tour and be on stage way back in the day for $500. For $500. Now the program has developed, so don't be smiling like that. The program has developed a lot since then, but that $500 is not $5,000 to be a part of the program, right? So, sometimes you just never know, why you do certain things. So I'm able to trace back to everything that God had me doing as to how everything connected. I can trace it back. I didn't understand it at the time, but I understand it now. Yeah.
And that's, hindsight's always 2020, right? We don't see the journey while we're in it. You can't see the picture from inside the frame, but as you look back now, you can see how all the dots connected, leading you to a time such as this. And what you said was so profound, and I hope our listening audience heard that. This was not on your radar. You're trucking down another lane and you get a call because someone was watching you. And you said that earlier. You may not get a lot of likes, but people are watching because of that visibility, because you dared to keep pressing and doing what you believed in. Someone saw an opportunity.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And that's where the exposure piece comes into play. Now we're putting you in front of 20 to 50,000 people, and you got a live audience of 200 to 400 people in front of you. And so now you get massive exposure. So if you get on the stage and you're able to really share your gifts and deliver a dynamic, compelling, attractive, and engaging and entertaining presentation, right, that educates your audience, if you're able to do that, then opportunities will come your way. But there's factors in this now. See, it was easier back when, but now there's a lot of speakers out there that are trying to get into the business. There's a lot of speakers that are trying to get paid $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for an hour and 15-minute presentation with a 15-minute question and answer. So it's more than just getting on the stage. Now your Google has to look tight. In other words, you have to have publications that's validating you as a speaker. Your social media has to look like you do this at a very high level. And you got to have a website that's aesthetically pleasing that helps you to connect with your target audience. And if those three things are not lined up with one another, you're going to struggle in this industry. But those that invest in these areas, then they find that they're able to elevate in this industry. That's if they're willing to put in the work. We can't forget about that part. You got to put the work in first.
I love that. I'm having a little coughing spasm here. So I'm going to let you keep talking to people, especially about not only your tour, but how you've put together this amazing package, which is number one, an opportunity to practice your craft of speaking, hone that signature talk. But there's other things. You mentioned that visibility, that exposure, that third-party endorsement that goes much farther than if you simply say, hey, everyone, look at me, I'm the greatest thing. But when you have those third-party publications also echoing who you are, it can actually help you to increase your impact, your influence, and your income. Back to you.
Well, first, being a part of the tour, if you're a speaker, we have over 800 speakers in our network. And many of those speakers are having signatures events, and especially the ones that come through my coaching program. So events are happening within the network constantly, which means there are opportunities to get on stage on an ongoing and regular basis. So a lot of the speakers don't understand that the speakers that's in the show can become their client, or vice versa. So that's number one. Number two, going back to the publications are absolutely critical. Your Google feed is the most crucial thing in this whole process, because when you apply for paid speaking opportunities, the event planner is going directly to Google. They're going to search your name. And if nothing pops up about you, you can't compete with the other speakers who they've been in 15 or 20 different publications. You can't compete. And the social media is just a track record of what you do. So if you go to my social media, you'll see I'm in event after event after event. I'm in doing coaching after coaching after coaching. I'm doing podcast after podcast after podcast. I'm doing radio show after radio show, TV show after TV show. I become the ultimate example for every speaker that's looking to elevate in their platform. And the reason that is there is so that they see when they pay their money, they're working with someone who actually does this. So the social media piece becomes a very large piece. A lot of folks don't realize it, but if you can go to my personal page, there's nothing personal on my page. And I have 5 business pages. All of them, they tie right into the Leadership Experience Tour. You survive and you survive and
I'm surviving. I don't know where that came from, but it's all good because whenever you're on with pros, you can say, just take over the show. I'll be back.
I could keep going if you need me to.
Oh, we're good. This is great. And I hope those of you that are listening and wherever you are in business, if you're thinking, how can I elevate my game? How can I separate myself from the pack? What I've learned in my brief consulting time and coaching time with you, Shawn, is really being empowered by your own brand. So like the Bradford Group has been here for 17 plus years. Mm-hmm. But LaWanna was hiding behind the Bradford Group brand. So now this platform and my relationship with you is giving me the opportunity and the courage to say, wait a minute, LaWanna Bradford has a message and I need to stand up and show up in a certain way so that I can create this legacy impact that I want to make. I mean, the mortgages are great. And what I do from a consulting standpoint is great, but there's a bigger calling that has LaWanna Bradford's name on it. And so you have helped me or continue to help me to, first of all, be aware of what I need, because you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I knew certain things, but others it's like, oh, wow, that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit while we have the next few minutes about getting in the right circles of influence, because what we're paying for, some people are saying, oh, LaWanna, I hear you, but I'm not going to pay to be on someone's stage. What you're paying for is access to an expert. What you're paying for are lessons learned along the way where he's paid the price and he makes your journey that much easier. You don't have to go through the school of hard knocks because he's telling you how to navigate and how to find those stepping stones of opportunity. What would you like to say to our listening audience about that?
Well, this is marketing. If you don't have a marketing budget, then you're probably not going to expand your brand in any major way. That's a fact. Marketing is key. So when people come to the tour, you heard this term pay to play. We're not a pay to play. We're not anything close to that. The speakers that come to us, they come to us for very specific reasons. One, I find out that most speakers, like when I ask them for a photo, or we're ready to do your retractable banner, or we want to put you in one of our announcement cards. Most people, they don't have a good photo. So when they come to the tour, they get great photo work, right? One of the best branding photographers in the country works with us. Her name is Emma Burkesell. She's absolutely phenomenal. Most of the speakers, even some of the good speakers, they don't have professional stage footage. Right? They'll say, I'm not going to pay for this. Okay, well, let me consider you as a keynote speaker. Let me see your footage. You ask them for the footage, they can't send you any. And if they do send you any, the footage is bad footage. And so we have pros that they're great at video and capturing speakers on stage with 5 or 6 different angles, right? And with all the right lighting and all the right audio. That's what we're known for. And then most of them haven't had any quality interviews where they get a chance to truly explain the value that their platform brings to society. And so they get a chance to go through 5 different interviews with anywhere between 4K to 412 or K12 cameras in every single room with professional text and professional audio guys that's capturing their information in a way that resonates with their target audience. So it's not about paying to get on stage. It's about getting yourself on video, high quality video camera, high quality audio, so that you can push your content out in today's marketplace to separate yourself from the competition, because most speakers don't have it.
I love that. Shawn, we're almost out of time. I want to show that video once again. If you're just joining us and you're wondering, what are they talking about? We're talking about the Leadership Experience Tour, and you want to be there, you want to plug in, and you want to connect with the amazing Shawn Fair.
Edition 2022, and I'm telling you, Mr. Shawn Fair has done it again.
The speakers have been absolutely amazing. And so if you're a person that you're going through certain situations and you need some best practices to help you to be a better you, then you want to make sure that you attend our next event, which is going to be here at the Michigan State University Center in Troy, Michigan.
But it's not about Shawn Fair. He's the visionary. It's about all the folks that he's brought together to be a part of this. These are speakers. These are experts. These are individuals who have one common goal. That's to help you improve in the area of leadership, but more importantly, in your business.
It's a family environment here. A lot of people ask me when I came off the stage today, they say, how did you feel? Were you nervous? Even if I was nervous, the minute I got on the stage, all of my other colleagues and my friends, they would support me, and I felt that energy. And because they wanted me, it's no competition, because they wanted me to do such a good job, I did a great job.
We have 6 cameras that's taking footage of all of our speakers on stage. We have multiple photographers. We have trained video footage as well. It's absolutely an amazing experience.
If you are not here, you are missing out on all of these amazing connections, inspiration, education, leadership strategies, and tools so that you can become the greatest version of you.
The Leadership Experience Tour has been in today's marketplace for over 7 years. But over the last couple of years, we've been working with OnStage Plus, and we have access to over 150 million homes across the globe.
Make sure you get plugged in to the Leadership Experience Tour. I will see you here for the next one.
Leadership Experience Tour.
LaWanna,
Yes.
we spend close to $300,000 per show to make sure that the people that come to the tour get the branding, the footage, the video, the audio, and all of the professionals that are necessary to take their platforms to the next level. And when you come to the show, when you see this digital backboard that we have, we got a 20-foot high, 15-foot wide digital backdrop. Takes them about 6 hours to put it together. Then we're adding 2 new digital slats on each side of the stage that's going to be promoting another aspect of the speaker while they're on the stage. And there's going to be ads on the television show. And by the way, it is a televised show. So anybody who would like to watch this, doesn't matter if you're in the United States, Canada, Europe, South Africa, Australia, you can watch the show anywhere in the world. All you have to do is download the OnStage Plus TV app. It's on Android. It's also on the iPhone as well. You can watch it on television. If you have Roku on your TV, which most of the TVs that you're buying now has Roku, you can watch this right on your television. You can watch this on your iPad. You can watch it on your computer. The exposure is amazing.
You know, I was thinking when I was watching the video clip again, is you just said you're investing, your company, $300,000 to make this production as stellar as it is. Now, for those of you who are watching who are saying, well, I don't know if I want to pay whatever the price is, or I want to say invest. The question is, how much would it cost if you did all of these pieces by yourself? Yeah. How much would it cost you in financial investment and time investment? Whether it's the publications, getting interviewed by media outlets like ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, getting on a streaming platform, televised streaming platform, speaking at a major university. How much would it cost you? How much time to make it all happen? And just to think that all you have to do is show up with your zone, in your zone of genius, with your message, and you have this amazing team that's there to work with you and for you, right? That's pretty powerful.
It is powerful. And our team is one of the best teams in the industry. They're all pros. And obviously you'll be there, so you'll get a chance to experience. Well, you've already experienced them already for the most part, but you haven't experienced them in person. And experiencing them in person and seeing them in their element is just a great sight to see. So it's one thing to work with folks virtually. It's another thing to work with folks in person. And so their job is to make sure that every speaker has a phenomenal experience. And like I told you before, LaWanna, when folks come through the tour, they can't go backwards. We put them in a very bad position because the content is amazing. The photo stuff is amazing. The whole experience is something that they will cherish. And a lot of folks come to a realization about their direction after being a part of that experience.
But I would liken it to when you fly international and you're on first class. It's kind of hard to go back to coach.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. That flight's too long. You enjoyed the pampering session. You enjoy being in your pod. You're not doing coach.
It's very tough to do that. That's a great analogy. It is the same way at the tour, and it's very hard to go to a different platform after going through this platform. A lot of folks that go to another platform after going to this platform feel like they've been cheated because the price. I'm a big believer in I'm going to give you more value than what I'm charging you, and it's going to well exceed what you pay. I won't have to tell you that, by the way. You'll come to that conclusion on your own when you get there. Most of you don't have an understanding what y'all getting into until you get there. When you get there, all of a sudden, all the lights and bells and everything starts going off when you get there after a couple of days. So
where can people go to get more information on the Leadership Experience Tour?
They can go to www.leadershipexperiencetour.com, or they can just go to ShawnFair.com. They can go to any one of the social media pages, and every post that's posted has the website address on it. No matter where they go, no matter what the post is, the website address is always present.
Okay, so you've heard it here, folks. If you are looking in your business and you're thinking, how can I separate myself? How can I elevate my USP, that unique selling position? How can I stand out as a leader and build my authority, build my brand awareness? There's different lanes of doing so, but this is kind of an all-inclusive package for you. And I know, because I was going to say it doesn't include a book, but I believe you do have a collaborative book as part of this as well, right?
Yep, we have an anthology. It's called Let Presents Stories of the World's Greatest Speaker. And we have Dr. Alethea Tucker is the one that facilitates that entire program for me. But we only put 16 speakers in each book, and we are going into edition 2. Edition 1 was a second bestseller on the New York's exchange, so book exchange. So we're looking for that book to be number 1, the second edition to be number 1. So if you're interested, just let us know. Now, you can't get into the book unless you're a good speaker. So listen, I just want to make sure we're on the same page with this. You got to be a great speaker, and we vet you before putting you in the book.
I love it. Well, Shawn, it has been a privilege. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with my audience on Business and Financial Raw Talk. To those of you on E360 TV, we're also streaming on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you for following us. Again, follow Shawn Fair. If you just have questions and you want to figure it out, have a conversation. It does not hurt. I know I'm glad that I did. It took me a while to get jump started, but I finally came on board.
Well, LaWanna, we appreciate you, and we look forward to meeting you. Thank you for inviting me to the show. And for all of you guys that are listening in, if you're looking to get on a big stage, consider the Leadership Experience Tour, www.leadershipexperiencetour.com. The event is September the 20th through the 24th. The live portion of the event is going to be on the 23rd. So if you go to Eventbrite and just search Leadership Experience Tour, you can purchase your ticket, download the app, OnStage Plus TV app, and you can watch the show live on the 23rd, starting at 8 o'clock a.m. It will go all the way till about 9 o'clock p.m.
Thank you so much, Shawn. And to our listening audience, just remember, in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. I'm LaWanna Bradford, and I'll see you next week for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. Thanks again, Shawn.
You're very